If you look at the numbers, Erling Haaland shouldn't make sense. He stands 6'4" and weighs 94 kilograms in a sport that usually rewards smaller, lower center of gravity players who can turn on a dime. He's a massive physical outlier. Rather than just relying on pace, he wears defenders out over the full 90 minutes by physically bullying them until they break. To maintain that explosive output week after week, you can't just fuel your body like a normal athlete. You have to eat like a bear preparing for winter. We are talking about a massive consistent intake of 6,000 calories every single day. For an average person, eating 6,000 calories would lead to rapid weight gain and exhaustion. And to actually hit that massive number, Haaland completely abandons normal athlete food for some genuinely bizarre choices. Forget the usual chicken, rice, and fancy recovery powders. Haaland eats like he's a Viking. He's on this raw, ancestral diet, eating stuff like hearts and liver that most people wouldn't even think about touching, just to fuel his game. To actually hit 6,000 calories a day without destroying his digestive system, Haaland can't just eat junk food. He has to consume mountains of high-quality whole food macronutrients. His baseline fueling process looks like a competitive eating challenge. A standard morning starts with 4 sunny-side-up eggs, avocado, full-fat yogurt, and heavily buttered fresh-baked sourdough bread, usually washed down with a highly specific, controversial drink we will get to in a minute. For lunch and dinner, he consumes gigantic, oversized portions of lean protein, specifically sea bream, sea bass, mackerel, and salmon. When he needs a rapid influx of calories, he's been known to eat massive Italian sandwiches loaded with Parma ham and burrata cheese that clock in over 1,100 calories apiece. He is incredibly strict about where this food comes from, demanding that his ingredients are sourced from local, high-quality farms.
Fatty steaks, ribeye, tomahawk, obviously. One of my favorite is short rib. Is amazing.
That strictness doesn't stop at sourcing. He's equally obsessive about how the food actually gets cooked. You wouldn't find a single non-stick pan in his kitchen. He avoids them to eliminate the risk of synthetic chemical coatings leaching into his food. Instead, everything is seared simply with salt and pepper on heavy stainless steel or raw cast iron. But eating massive plates of fish and eggs is standard for top-tier athletes. This is just the basic fuel required to keep him going. The real secret to his biomechanics, and the part that has sports scientists losing their minds, is what he adds on top of that baseline to maximize his efficiency. To bridge the gap to 6,000 calories, Haaland turns to things most modern consumers completely avoid: organ meats, specifically cow hearts and beef liver. While the average person runs from these meats, Haaland views them as a massive nutritional advantage. Liver is essentially a powerhouse of bioavailable iron and B vitamins. These are the exact micronutrients your body needs to maximize red blood cell count and oxygen transport. For a striker making dozens of all-out sprints every match, oxygen efficiency is the difference between buying a stoppage time winner and completely gassing out. He is quite literally eating the specific organs required to upgrade his own endurance. But his control over his environment actually starts the exact second he wakes up. Before he eats his sourdough bread or drinks his raw milk coffee, the very first thing Haaland does is to go outside to get direct sunlight in his eyes. He relies on 10 minutes of early morning daylight to set his body's circadian rhythm.
On the sun, we get a lot of red light. We don't get sun outside now, so then I need to have this to get the red light on the body.
This biological clock dictates his hormone regulation and metabolism for the rest of the day, ensuring his energy peaks exactly when he needs it for training. To wash his meals down, he relies on a drink he openly refers to as his magic potion: raw, unpasteurized cow's milk. Health departments worldwide warn against the risks of drinking uncommercialized dairy, but Haaland completely bypasses the pasteurization process. He gets it directly from local farms, swearing that the natural fat profiles and living enzymes protect his gut health and speed up muscle tissue repair. Some mornings he blends it with kale, and other times he uses it to cut his morning coffee alongside local honey or maple syrup.
You need local honey, local raw honey. Perfect.
When he isn't drinking raw milk, his hydration is completely locked down. He doesn't touch alcohol, and he refuses to drink tap water.
Look at this loser. Look at this loser. Drinking water.
They complain when I order this, but when I score the goals, then they zip it up.
He uses a high-end multi-stage water filtration system at home to remove microplastics, chlorine, and heavy metals. A perfect diet means nothing if your body can't actually repair the muscle damage taken during a match. Haaland attacks his physical recovery with the same intensity as his diet. He has a commercial-grade cryotherapy chamber installed in his house, and he uses daily red light therapy and ice baths to rapidly flush out inflammation and heal micro tears in his muscles. But the ultimate recovery tool is his sleep schedule. Haaland treats his time in bed with militant discipline. Hours before he goes to bed, he puts on orange-tinted glasses to block out blue light from screens. This signals his brain to start producing melatonin early. He shuts down his home's Wi-Fi router at night to cut out electronic interference. And most intensely of all, he uses sleep tape to physically tape his mouth shut before his head hits the pillow. This forces him to breathe exclusively through his nose all night, which lowers his resting heart rate, increases nitric oxide in the blood, and keeps his body locked in the deepest, most restorative stages of sleep. There is really one exception to this entire hyper-disciplined routine. Before every home match, his father, former Premier League player Erling Haaland, cooks him a massive plate of homemade lasagna. It's a basic, carb-heavy meal, but it has become an unbreakable ritual that gives his muscles the exact slow-release fuel they need before kickoff. Obviously, you can't replicate Haaland's genetic frame or his fast-twitch muscle fibers just by copying his grocery list. For a normal person, forcing down 6,000 calories of cow organs and raw milk will probably leave you feeling sluggish and sick. Still, his approach makes total sense. He cuts out the artificial stuff, prioritizes high-quality whole foods, and treats his sleep like it pays his bills. He's essentially engineered his lifestyle to give him an absolute edge in the sport.